Okay. Howdy, this is my mom.
Howdy.
And she's going to be answering this week's CRE questions. Okay. What does your grief actually look and feel like?
So, I experienced two significant losses in my life. My father in 2001, and then my brother in 2020. So those two significant losses were far apart time frame wise. And so when you ask that question, I first kind of have to say that I was a vastly different person when I lost my dad in 2001 than when I lost my brother 5 years ago. So my grief 19 years ago,
19 years ago.
was very unhealthy, I would say. One really huge factor in that was that I wasn't walking with the Lord. I am a Christian today, and so I have more hope in loss than I did back then. To me, back then, loss was just loss. It was a void. I was unhealthy. I drank to cope. That's not healthy, obviously, for obvious reasons. I was angry. I was desperate. I hyper focused on my sadness, to kind of an obsession type of a feel, and it lasted probably longer than it needed to. I do remember one thing though. Even though I was very upset and I felt it in the moment, I didn't stuff it. I didn't, what's the word?
Like internalize it?
No, when people deny.
Oh.
Excuse me. I didn't have any of that. I felt it immediately, as I think a lot of women do, right? When breakups and all that. So even though I felt it right away and I went through the hard emotions instantly when my dad passed, I remember it was about 2 weeks after my dad passed. I was driving home from work and it just hit me that he was gone. It was weird. I just had this feeling like, oh my gosh, my dad's dead. It was almost like someone had just told me for the first time, and we're talking like 2 weeks later, so that was weird to experience that. But then my loss of my brother in 2020, I was just a completely different person. I'm married, I'm a mom, a Christian. I think those things are significant in, I think, outside factors and maturity as well, kind of affect your grieving process. So I grieved differently from my brother. I was extremely, extremely devastated, but I turned to God, and I don't believe I was as unhealthy in now I was still, I'd say I was kind of the common thread between the two is kind of, I don't want to say dramatic, but I wear my feelings. So I would cry loudly. I would let it out, no matter who was around. You got to see it. It was just like, ah. Mm-hmm. So that was the same. Emotional, I guess is the word. Emotional. I was still emotional. That's a common thread.
Yeah.
But definitely handled it in a more healthy way.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. What are your personal pitfalls or coping mechanisms? Like, I know you had mentioned that when your dad had passed, you turned to drinking.
Yeah.
But were there some things when Steve passed away that you would participate in? Like, did you over or under eat? Did you over or under work? Did you fall into like a depressive funk? Like, did you experience anything out of the normal than your like day-to-day life that may be healthy or unhealthy?
I tend to what's the word? Focus on it too much.
Hyper fixate?
Yeah, hyper fixate. I would say hyper fixate on it. I would do that. I think that's one thing. Here's one thing. You want to hold, I wanted to hold on to the sadness. So, like, I would want to listen to songs that would put me in that space.
So I get it from you. So that's where I get it from.
Because I felt like if I stopped feeling sad, then I was doing them wrong. If I stopped crying and feeling like if I smiled or had a good time, I felt guilty. I felt guilty. Yeah. Turning my back on my grief or something, and so I think that might be something.
Okay, sidebar. This isn't a part of the question, but it's related to what you said. Did you feel like there was an appropriate amount of time that you were supposed to grieve?
Oh, good one. Yeah.
Because you know, dwelling in the sadness, like maybe you didn't feel like it was an appropriate time to feel normal again.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
How long that time is? Not necessarily could I give you an answer to that, but yes. Yeah. I it's too soon for me to be enjoying this moment.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very. Okay. Who were your grief role models?
You know, it's funny you say that. I don't have any and never had. Yes, I saw my mom lose my brother, but I didn't necessarily look to her as because that was a different relationship. That was her son. So it put me more in a protective state of my mom, like, oh my gosh, is she okay? You know, I wasn't looking at her and going like, wow, she's strong. I mean, I could acknowledge that she was strong through it and still is, but I didn't necessarily look at her as a role model. I just don't think that way. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, why are you apologizing?
To that question is not applicable.
Well, did you ever see like any movies growing up of grief or sadness and like kind of observe characters in those movies or?
Yes.
But maybe not like taking them to
but
not like adapting, but observing. Yeah.
Correct.
Understood. Okay. How does your signature compare to official stories of grief? So you had just debunked one of your own personal experience, like the 5 stages of grief, where you didn't experience any denial, which is one of the 5 stages. Yeah. But there's anger, there's acceptance, there's there are 4 other stages. So I mean, like you had already just debunked one of them, but do you feel that your grief signature is widely experienced by everybody? Or do you think it's a little unique?
No, I don't think it's unique. I feel it hard and fast, and for the first, chunk of time immediately after losing someone, and then I just kind of fade into life. So I don't think that's necessarily different. Yeah. I don't think.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, so then this part's about the judgment of grief. So have you ever felt your grief was judged or misunderstood? Bless you.
Thank you. Yes, maybe when I lost my father, just because I was kind of a train wreck during that, and I could see someone judging me for that. But I don't think so.
Okay. Conversely, have you ever judged someone else's grief? Which I know that I have.
Yes, I did. When I lost my brother, my sister-in-law 2 years later started dating, and but I think that was more hurt because I took that like, that's my brother. How can you start dating someone else right away? But it also was judgment, like you need to, 33 years of marriage or something like that, and how could you do that?
Yeah. So, which is really interesting because in class, a common consensus that I didn't necessarily agree with was 6 months. 6 months to a year. I'm like, that is
because they've never been married.
To me, that seems very soon.
To me, never been married.
And I know everyone has like a different perspective of grief, but I'm like, oh my gosh, like I would be heartbroken.
You're talking about a group of college students that have never been married.
True. So, but yeah. So like it's interesting getting your perspective because I'm in a room full of like 20, 21-year-olds. Yeah. And you've been married for a long time and you say 2 years is soon. And so I'm like, wow, it's a crazy difference here,
But again, you got to look at the person's loss. I mean, if any of those people in the room lost a parent and then their other parent starts dating 2 years later, 6 months later, how would they feel?
Right.
Like, wait a minute. They might change their perspective.
Yeah. And then, based on your personal experiences and your reflections, what do you believe it truly means to grieve properly? Do you think there's like a right way to grieve, or do you think there's not a right way to grieve?
I think, and this is what I tell people that lose someone, and this because of my experience and reflecting now back on the 2 losses I had, I think a healthy way or proper way, whatever, would be just to ride any wave that comes at you. Just ride it. Don't fight it. Whether it's, you know, you want to ugly cry, snot coming out of your nose, whether you want to listen to sad music and cry, or whether you're in a joyful moment that you can just, okay, I'm feeling joyful and that's okay. And just ride that wave, whether you're angry or whatever. I think that's the proper way to grieve. It's just like let your emotions just take you. Obviously, if you're not being dumb about it, don't drink a thing of Jack Daniels and go driving, you know, like, oh, I'm just riding my wave. No, but you know, like just, I'm talking just like the emotions that come onto you. Don't fight the joy.
Like embrace them.
Don't fight that. Don't feel guilty. I think that would sum it.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
Anyways, my next CRE interviewee will be my sister, I think.